Sam and Nick. Nice to see you. How are you both?
Very well, thank you. Happy to be here.
I first wanted to present you both with something before we started off the interview. And it might trigger some memories for over the last 25 years.
Oh, I know what this is. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I know what this is. Amazing. You were managing the band at this time, weren't you?
Oh, well.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were, weren't you?
Yeah. So it was around the Rhythm Wise LP.
Wow.
And it was the music. This album was created for the music video.
That's right.
Was it for Move With Me?
When I Return.
Oh, When I Return.
Oh, man.
That's right.
Things haven't changed at all. Polder there with a cell phone. That's so funny. Man, Mum loves that one. Diggy smoking a joint
in Wellington.
in the mall in Wellington.
That's right.
She cracked up at that one.
At the back of Sub 9.
Yeah, that made the video. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny going through all these photos recently. It does trigger a lot of memories. You look like your son, and we're this video. These are all videos as well that we've sort of gone through recently, and it's so buzzy to go back and just see the people and the person that you were and that you were with so clearly, because memories are, the way memories are always not the way that it really was.
Yeah.
Totally. And what is it? Is it good emotions or is it all sorts of emotions?
I think it's like mainly good emotions. It's like ridiculous amount of good times. There was obviously tensions and dramas and things that went on within those good times, but that's life, right? And
anxiety. I remember feeling a lot of anxiety in the band as well, just like not really, I don't know, just being an anxious person and not really knowing what that was until kind of recently, I suppose. And going back, it just made me feel like, wow, brings back some of those feelings. But also, man, some of these experiences that we had, like Big Day Out, this massive crowds, and we were just like on a build, like on this really nice build that was sort of never really stopped and didn't like go too fast, but we just kept growing and growing and growing. And the experiences that we've had in our career are just like, so you pinch yourself moments. And you do forget some of those too, you know what I mean? So like, going through the old footage and photos is really special.
What have you been going? Are you including some of the old footage or these old memories in these anniversary shows that you're doing?
Yeah, to a certain extent, it's almost a sort of theme we're going for. But yeah, we do want that sort of nostalgic feeling, and if people can relate to that have been to gigs previously and see sort of memories that they might relate to, that's something we could aim for as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, Shapeshifter has evolved over 25 years in the band and in the sound. Do you still have the same fan base, do you think? Do you still recognise people coming to your gigs that did come to those early shows?
It's a good question. And listening to, the other thing we have done is reissued all of our vinyl as well. And so there's been a lot of like careful listening to make sure that it's replicated properly. And, in doing that, you go into the spell of like where you were 24 years ago or whatever it was, making this music and how deep you were. And I suppose doing that, I feel a real sense of connection of people that were around at that time. And I do sort of think, have they followed us all the way till now? And I think a lot of them haven't, but I hope some of them have. It's just funny for us, we've been head down a lot, sort of one foot in front of the other, seeking what's next and building on what was before, so we don't often look back. And looking back now, it's like, oh yeah, that there was definite eras and times and people that felt really strongly, I think. But yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if I can answer that.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I think there probably is, but I think sort of going a bit further on what you said, each album we sort of came to do, we fought ourselves to not say to ourselves, what was the formula last time? Let's do that again. We fought that, and and there's those feelings of, but people liked that, and they might not like if we do something different, but we always felt it was real important. I think a lot of great bands, you know, your Beatles, Pink Floyd's, whatever, Madonna, I don't know, they reinvent themselves each time and push yourself, and I think you would lose fans and gain fans in that process. But for me personally, I think, well, we did Solstice. It's done. It's never going anywhere. People can always enjoy it for what it is. Let's do something different. So people coming to gigs, I'm sure there would be a few people from the different eras. But yeah, that's what's cool about doing this 25-year thing. This is going to be specifically a lot of older stuff for those people that, you know, want to hear it, and, you know, have we're sort of veered away from some of those old flavours. Yeah. And we're going to go back and do them again, revisit them.
It's almost like a tease, us talking about these shows, because they're mostly sold out too, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. It's pretty nice. No, it's good feelings, especially. I mean, we were talking about COVID before, and how that's impacted everyone, and mental health, and things that people have endured in their lives because of the era that we've been through. And this is a nice injection of good times for us, you know, shows selling out quickly, and feeling like we're bringing something that is known back, you know, sort of back.
How does it feel, you know, going through those earlier Shapeshifter albums and sort of listening to the different sound, and even back then you would have used such different technology as well. Does it ever make you go, oh, I can't believe we did that? You know, is there any sort of cringe factor or anything? I mean, to my ears, there's not. But does it feel weird listening to, you know, those really early drum and bass recordings? They're quite raw in a sense.
Yeah, they are. And it's funny because you finish an album, I don't know, for me, finish an album, and then usually you're kind of like, right, you're a child, you've moved out of home, you're doing your own thing, let's move on, and probably wouldn't often listen to it again for a long time, you know, indefinitely, you know. And so listening to some of these things I haven't listened to in years, and there is that element of like, oh, that's you know, we wouldn't do that now. But there was also other elements of like, wow, we were brave, and that's cool, and, you know, getting almost inspired by our younger selves or different selves at that time. So there's a bit of inspiration there as well.
Yeah, and it's really interesting what you say about different technology, and you know, we're a technology-based group, and we always have been. And when we first started writing music, it was it's kind of not too much different to now, you know, in a computer.
It wasn't floppy disks then, was it?
We used floppy disk live. Yeah, we did.
Yep.
And Akai samplers and
What
stuff.
would you hold them in? Like a little suitcase or a little?
There's a little. You had little cases for the 3.5 inch floppy disk.
Yeah.
And zip drives and all that sort of thing. But I was just thinking about this exact question yesterday. When we go to make music for the first few years of the band, you know, we'd have a very limited palette of sounds to work with, and the internet wasn't involved in that really either. It was like, you know, Caps or Pylon or whoever were our peers would say, here's 100 sounds, you know, that I've gathered, or someone's given me that's toured from the UK, or that's made this kind of music, you know, like, or you take samples yourself off records and albums, but it would still be a very limited palette, and you'd sit there day after day going through all your sounds, you know, your 100 sounds or whatever, and going, what can I do with that? Oh, that's inspiring, and we'll use this kick drum and this snare that we kind of know, or we haven't used that one, but we've only got this to work with. And that conversely, now it's like you can use a voice prompt in AI to go, I want a 80s sounding synth, and boom, you have one at your fingertips just like that. Or anything you can possibly imagine. It's just really down to what your imagination is, what you're thinking at the time. That's your limitation, so anything's possible. You want to learn any techniques or anything, it's right there on YouTube or ChatGPT.
Are you using AI to make Shapeshifter sounds at the moment?
No, I use ChatGPT a lot in my daily life, as a kind of a Google thing. But in terms of music making, we haven't crossed the Rubicon just yet.
No, it's a funny one. AI. We sort of experimented a bit with art, and it's for artwork and things. And yeah, it's like you can see it's got potential, but it's maybe not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it will be. So
it's funny talking about the digital sounds with Shapeshifter, because I think when you guys first started playing, the whole exciting thing was, oh my gosh, this is a live band. Mm. You guys, some of you met at jazz school. Did both of you go to jazz school?
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? What was there an intention that you wanted to make dance music but have a live band? Was that a clear intention that you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, that was definitely the intention, and sort of came about from Redford, our drummer, previous drummer. He was just like a human
drum machine,
but better, yeah. And he could just play any sort of drum and bass break, classic break, your amens, your think break, whatever. He could play it, and he could play it with even more swagger than any other time you'd heard it.
Yeah.
So that was the intention, and drum and bass was so big at that time in Christchurch. Drum and bass DJs coming from the UK, they'd have lines going around the street, getting into ministry, and it was just huge. And we just started doing it for fun, and it was like, wow, this is huge. We had an old MS-20 synthesizer that was just so fat that it would just rattle the old jazz school walls, and Redford on drums, and and adding in our sort of jazz influences, Sam on guitar, saxophone. So it was, that was our intention, and it still is, to be fair. Like we don't sequence things. We still try and make it as live as possible, and still try and have that sort of difference.
Did you ever? Yeah, I guess it makes it. You're pulling the crowds in. I'm just sort of thinking aloud here. But yeah, was there any ever regret of doing the live band? Because it's expensive taking a band around. You could potentially play the music, on vinyl, and would you still get that same crowd energy? Probably not, actually.
No, but I mean, this going back to your first question, and this question is on the same path as the music that we were creating was our version of something that was very sonically different to live music, and created on computers for the dance floor, and massive bass bins and huge PAs that moved in a different way to a live band. Very the bass and kick drum relationship was a lot more kind of almost scientific than in a rock band or something like that. It's dance, it's electronic dance music, and we were replicating that, but that was our point of difference, and having a live feeling and energy. And we improvised a lot in the first years of the band. We just sort of have a bass line drop, and maybe a sample and some chords or something, and that would be the makeup of the song, and we'd roughly know how it went, and we just sort of go and see how it goes. And if people were really feeling that, then we would elevate and keep going, and if we needed to break it down, then we would. And that was, when you're in that situation, the whole place comes together in a kind of a synergy that's electric, and nothing's predetermined, and it's a subconscious kind of connection that you have, and you don't get that from DJing as much, from playing pre-recorded music. So did we regret it? I think we felt a lot of times like up against the establishment, if you will, in terms of, the format was DJs playing produced music, and that's on the dance floor. And we weren't really accepted by the establishment mostly because we were doing something quite different and challenging. And I think for those people, maybe it was threatening, or they just didn't like it, or they didn't really understand what we were doing, but our audience did. So, I remember turning up to places all over the world and going, you might not have heard anything like this before, but check out our drummer. And just knowing that we had something unique, we believed in it. We didn't ever regret it, but we definitely felt frustrated sometimes that we weren't accepted into the fraternity of drum and bass.
Yeah, and there's a lot of lugging gear around Europe, trying to take 15 massive cases on a train in the middle of Holland, in the dark, trying to get them on before the door shuts, and all these sort of massive missions. And, I remember we did a festival in Serbia, Exit Festival, and there's 180,000 people there. From memory, I think we were probably the only band in this whole festival. We probably weren't, but from memory, and you got Skrillex DJing to 90,000 people, and there are thoughts in your head. It's just like, wow, that guy's just cruising the world with a USB stick, and we've got drum cases and old cases with belts around them to keep them together, and so there was definitely moments where you're like, well, we're doing it the hard way for sure. And do people care? I don't know, but yeah, that was our point of difference. That was our identity, and so you push through it, and the gigs are great, and you do it, and but there are those moments where you're like, well, this is this is old school.
Yeah. You mentioned Serbia before. You guys have played all over the world and played incredible festivals. You played Glastonbury too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did Glastonbury weekend. We did 2 gigs. We opened it on the Thursday, and then headlined the electronic stage on the Saturday night. So that was a big weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have, with this 25-year sort of reflection, have you been thinking about, do you have favourite shows or favourite moments of touring?
Yeah, that would be one for sure. The Glastonbury weekend was it's an amazing festival. It's like one of the wonders of the world almost. It's crazy.
And Exit Festival was another one. There are a lot, and sometimes they fade a little
memory.
bit from the mind. But also, I think the Big Day Out was massive for us too, because we found ourselves on the Boiler Room stage, which I think is probably the biggest thing we'd done up to that point. Is 10,000 people in Auckland as well, coming from Christchurch. Auckland was the bigger kind of centre, and we always felt like, not underdogs, but the industry is very much based in Auckland, and we were kind of we were battling a little bit, but ending up on the Boiler Room stage a few times with it just going absolutely mental is a very fond memory, and it's still quite early in our career as well, so we were just absolutely fizzing.
Oh my gosh. I almost remember the energy of that. I'm glad you guys never turned into DJs, because I think, speaking about it was so unique, but also so incredible. Yeah, the sound and everything. I interviewed the Nomad, a couple of months ago. God, it was funny. We were having massive flashbacks. But some of those early New Zealand festivals, we got onto this chat about, cliche, but the Gathering and destinations and everything like that.
Yep.
God, they were fun. But it's interesting to look back, because those sorts of festivals don't seem to be happening now. Or are they happening and I'm just out of the loop? Remember, those music festivals where we'd go and they would be quite loose.
Yeah, it's like, from memory, I don't know the details, but I from memory, I remember the Gathering was running at a loss. It was like a team of people who wanted not to make money, but to put on this epic event that's going to stick in people's memories forever. And maybe there's just, I'm sure, I think he might have lost a lot of money, and, maybe that kills people like that off, but it's a real shame. And Destination, I've got memories of the lights on the rocks, and oh wow, just
I can't believe we were allowed to dance
yeah,
on the
exactly.
rocks.
They're kind of like, and same with Cane Downs, there's like holes everywhere in the ground that go down, they haven't found the bottom to, and dangerous sort of cool spots that probably these days aren't economically viable to put on a festival and make money, which is probably like a lot of what promoters are doing these days. They have to make a living.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that's something,
It's become an industry.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was an industry as such before. Like the Gathering wasn't the first festival, but it was, definitely for our generation it was massive, and it was non-commercial. And there are still non-commercial festivals that happen, but the scene is saturated with events and festivals and people wanting to make money, quite obviously. That's their motivation, and people wanting to do it for the art or the experience of it that they bring to the table. And it's really tough. It's a really tough game, and there's just so much on offer. It's a pretty scary game as well, for a promoter.
Has that affected you guys as a band? I mean, not this tour because it's sold so well, but have you noticed that it's harder to sell tickets to shows?
Yeah, I think after COVID, there was a massive influx of international artists, big artists, to stadium sort of level as well, and international DJs that have a lot of appeal, especially after we've been isolated for a couple of years, and then these people start coming in, and, that takes a lot of, people only have a certain amount of money to spend on gigs, and so I think that there was a lot of that in the first year back, a lot of people giving their money to Snoop and Elton John and whoever. Pink, yeah, and, they're all massive acts that people want to see, so you can understand it. So that, yeah, there was, the first year back was tough. But then saying that, the COVID years, there was only Kiwi artists to go and see. So, they were good years. So, yeah, just ebbs and flows. You just got to ride it sometimes.
You guys almost became promoters once, didn't you? Didn't you put on a New Year's festival in the Coromandel?
Yeah, we've put on a few of our own shows. It's kind of been our business model a lot of the time, actually, and sort of independent in recordings and events. And we've been pretty lucky, to be honest, and we've also taken some big hits, as you do. But yeah, it's like I say, it's a scary game because you put a lot on the line, and if people don't show up, then it's sad face.
It is, and I think like as a band, we've always been real art based. Like that's been our we've tried to keep that mindset where we're like artists and we're making art and money doesn't matter, even though we've got family to feed. So that promoter game is a tough one where you're like in it to win it, but you also could lose. And I don't think we like that feeling. We'd just rather be like hippies making music, and just, music, it's all that matters, we don't care about money. And the money will come. So it doesn't really suit our personalities that well, being promoters.
Are you pinching yourself now that the band have been performing for 25 years? Like, do you understand, that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, I'm really proud. That's probably one of the things I'm most proud of, I think, is the way we're still, brothers, still, love working together.
Yeah.
Still exciting. I still get excited when we're about to go into the studio together. So, yeah, I think it's a great accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah. They say, I was actually interviewing Serge Tankian the other day, and many people have said it. He was like, being in a band is like getting married. The divorce can be really hard. You've got to work through a lot of stuff. For other bands that are listening, perhaps, and you have changed some members, and there has been highs and lows, but what is there a trick? Is there any rules that or anything you'd give advice to be able to have that longevity?
From my personal experience, I really had to learn to listen. It took me a long time. I feel like I wanted control a lot, and so I ended up in the producer's chair pretty early on, because it was a way of having to express myself, and I kind of had control, of what was being input into the music. Had to kind of make it past me, and I realized, it took me a few years to realize that I needed to listen more, and that was a source of tension. The rest of the band did really, really well, I think, in putting up with that. But just that would be a word of advice, is just listen and really give people's ideas ear and your time, because music is a really passionate thing. If you do it, you're probably doing it because you feel strongly about it and you love it, and as a musician or a producer, composer, or whatever, songwriter, you quite often feel like the way. You know how it's supposed to go, and it's going to go like this. So it's quite hard when you are feeling so strongly about it. It's deep in your heart, and you're just driven to hear someone else's perspective, which is different to yours, and it doesn't hurt to just park the way that it's going to go, and just listen and give it a shot, and it's going to probably be better, because more hands on the wheel is going to make a better product. That'd be my advice.
Yeah, I agree. It's sort of that ability to be flexible, and I think we've just got massive trust in each other as well. So if I think I really not sure if I like that, I don't think I like that, and then we've got, say, Sam and Diggs going, oh, nah, that's cool, man, I reckon that's really cool, then I trust them as, friends and colleagues. I'll trust them, and I'll be like, well, okay, I'll sit on that then. I'm not going to say no to that, because those two think yes. And then I'll often change my mind. I think within Colour, I thought, this does not suit the album. This is like a weird song on that album, and I don't think it should be there. Strongly, like other guys, like, nah, that should definitely be there. So I'm glad I didn't get my way on that one.
It's quite a big song.
Yeah, it's a big song, and I like the song now as well. So just having that flex and having that, try not to be stubborn, and I think like it's easier when you've got more people to decide things, as well. So it can be a bonus.
I think age is a wonderful tool though as well, isn't it? Because I think if we think of ourselves, 20 years ago, then
my goodness.
Yeah, we learn to be more open and patient, I think, as we get older too.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
communication thing. It's just like any relationship. Just try and listen. If you don't get your own way, it's not going to all fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't quit the band. A lot of people just quit their band. It's just like, I'm quitting. Don't quit your band.
What would you say? Just have a little break. Have some time out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work through it.
Yeah.
Just
Go to therapy? Have you guys done the Metallica thing yet?
No.
We haven't done group therapy, no.
This is a cliche question, but I'd love to ask to see if you guys can pick a favourite album. But yeah, out of the Shapeshifter catalogue, would you have a favourite album, especially now that you've gone back because you're putting all these new albums or releasing some of them for the first time on vinyl? Is there a favourite album or even favourite song?
Yeah, I looking, just going over the vinyls recently, like Sam was saying, we had to listen through them all, listen for pops and cracks and things. I'd have to say Delta. Delta, yeah, I don't remember it being my favourite, but on listening back to them all, I think that's, yes, really strong. And there's one song on there, Taste of Memory, that got stuck in my head, and I might just say that out for now as being a favourite, random favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. I wonder what it was about Delta. Where were you guys in that realm?
Well, we started the first song we wrote in Wellington at Devon's house, Monarch, in 2010. And then we went to Berlin shortly after that. So we had Monarch, and then we wrote the rest of the album, most of the rest of the album. Then we came to Wood Hill, northeast of Auckland, and that's where we wrote In Colour, and so there's a few different places, and then we ended up in Wellington, finishing it with the Upbeats. It was the first album we did with the Upbeats. So quite a few different locales and stuff. But I think with the favourite album question, I really enjoyed listening to Real Time, which surprised me because I never really vibed on it recently. I've heard hear songs in passing and be like, ugh, like you say, like, that's 8 minutes. You know what? Oh my God, that intro's like 2-3 minutes long. But I still can't go past The System is a Vampire for me, because I feel like we set a goal, and that was to sound like us, to sound like a live band, which we'd been questing for forever. Like you alluded to it before, with us being a live band and the recording sounding very electronic, because that's what we felt we had to do to kind of be accepted by the drum and bass fraternity. It's also what we wanted to hear, the sonics of computerized kind of music, if you will, on the dance floor when we heard our recordings. But then System, we just like tore up that rule book and just went, we're listening to a lot of Kings of Leon. Nick and I moved to Kingscliff, which is northern New South Wales. And we just lived and breathed the album, and we always knew that we were going to record it fully live drums, as much live takes of instrumentation as we could, and we just wanted it to sound like the live band that you would hear live. And I think we achieved that, and I think there's a lot of dimension to the sound, because we did spend 3 weeks recording the drums and a lot of time in pre-production, and the song Lifetime for me always gets me. It just always sort of pulls me into a kind of a chill, sort of spacey vibe. Yeah.
When I think of that album, I just remember it was very guitar-y as well. Yeah, your guitar is really prominent on it. Yeah. That's so interesting. You were listening to Kings of Leon.
Yeah. It was a dreamy time, that time. It was just a tropical, place, and there was nothing to do but make music, and we just, it was so good. It was like a dream come true, that whole era, and we took our time. But I think you can hear it in the album as well. It's beautiful time.
So what's next for Shapeshifter? You're heading out on tour, and some of these shows are sold out. There'll be such celebrations. But then what happens after 25 years? Have you still got that same energy to still create new music and keep performing live and touring lots? Yeah,
I think I feel energized to do another 25. It's like
25 albums,
25 years. We'll do a Troy King 25 albums, 25 years. It's only when you kind of walk past a mirror or remember your age that you're kind of like, oh shit. That's right. I forgot. So we live close to each other now, so it's Sam's just finishing off an amazing studio at the back of his house, and
cool.
I feel excited. I think we're up for another few rounds, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely the passion's still there and the energy's still there. I mean, time's a bit different. Like, we're both parents. I'm a reasonably new parent, and there's a lot of things that go along with that. So the time thing is different. Like, with Solstice, we went to Kaikoura and spent 6 months just eating crayfish and making bass lines and dreaming. And same with the System, like we just talked about. But that's not going to happen again. And, we're not going to camp out for 6 months somewhere and just like indulge. So that's different. But I feel very, very lucky that people are listening. People still listen to our music, and we have an audience. We're very grateful for that and don't take it for granted. And it's it's an honor really to step into a mode of creation and think, man, we've got to do our best work. That's a real honor.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I think we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was so cool. Oh my gosh.
Thanks. We didn't get to talk about you.
That's good.
Charlotte used to manage our band.
No.
Oh, we did
say
talk about you.
Well,
We
you
did.
say
We did
you
mention
do say that, but then I get a little bit uncomfortable because was it managing? Did I know what I was doing when I was 22?
Did any of us? We were all like sort of, young, bubbling up at that stage. So it was all part of the journey, really, wasn't it?
I remember touring with you though lots. Like, there was a big New Zealand tour that we worked on, and I just remember at that point going, "These guys are huge." I remember you sold out all your venue. It was just, and I think you made a lot of money as well back in those days.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I just remember being quite blown away. Like I was just helping out, but then it was like, wow.
Yeah.
I remember being after the Civic with you and Dexter and Graham Douglas, and the sun was well and truly up, and we were hanging out on a lawn in Opawa somewhere.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And
I do.
this is golden memory, just a little slice of time, like just the sun on your skin, and that's one memory that I have. It's quite nice.
That's so true. I think it's that Civic gig that blew me away. Yeah. It was so packed and people just kept on trying to buy tickets and they were sold out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that venue still there?
No.
No, that's well gone, that one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what about just a memory as well? I didn't come to it, but the post, did you guys play in the Christchurch Town Hall? Was it post-COVID and it was a big thing? Or was there a big Christchurch Town Hall thing you did once?
We did the reopening of the town hall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was such a special thing to do because the town hall was like the one venue that didn't get wiped out, that they rebuilt exactly as it was. And it wasn't just us playing there, it was the gigs we've probably been to through the years. You've got your like choirs when you're a kid and
Kenny Rogers, U2.
I saw the Cranberries there.
Everyone.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Then we did a gig, the Solstice Tour gig with the orchestra there, which is a live album.
Yes.
And that was that was like, I don't know, felt like we were in the Beatles or something. People were screaming. It was like mental. It was such a great gig. So those memories, and then the earthquake, obviously, it really hurt. Like thinking that the town hall was gone,
Yeah.
It hurt a lot of buildings, old venues like the Ducks and that hurt as well. But the town hall was just something special about
very
it.
Special.
And the fact they just, went against the grain and redid it exactly as the way it was. And then to open it, the vibe in that gig was just like it was like a sense of like a victory. Like we lost a lot, but this is a little moment of victory that we can hang on to. Like the crowd thinking that as well,
Yes.
Just on that point as well, quick plug for Morris and I, which is a film on at the Architecture Film Festival, which is, I think it's still on in Christchurch, or maybe it's finished, but it's all around the country. But Morris and I, that's a film about Miles Warren and Marnie.
Oh, yeah. Warren and Marnie,
Warren
iconic
and Marnie,
architects.
the architects, and their journey, and it culminates in the creation of the town hall and what you just talked about, the battle to save it and how it got fully reinstated. Amazing film, definitely worth going to see.
Yeah.
Morris and I.
Great story.
Yeah.
Morris, Marnie.
I can't remember Marnie's first name either.
Morris.
Oh, it's Morris Marnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marnie and...
Miles Warren and Morris Marnie.
Well done.
Yeah. Well, it's called Morris and I because Sir Miles Warren would say that a lot, Morris and I, because Morris was the quiet one and Sir Miles was the flamboyant, dreaming architect, but Morris made everything possible and they're a dream partnership and worth going to see, Morris and I.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yay. Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
No,
that was
really
very,
cool.
very awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's really awesome to, be able to be on this radio station. It's a,
and be
we love
interviewed
it.
by yourself as well with such a deep connection to the history of the band. And
I was a fan first. We didn't even go to the, I feel like the first time I met you was when you were at jazz school and you were in this band. I feel like I've asked you about it too. And it was called something Blue Stew or Blue.
It was
Blue,
there was the John Bronis 5, and then there was Blue Jazz thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Blue Juice.
Blue Juice.
The Blue Juice Quartet and the Blue Juice Quintet.
Yeah, that's right. We used to play at
Far out. Oh my
Main
God.
Street.
Good memory.
Get
Wow.
Pumpkin balls.
Yeah.
Satay balls. That was our pay for
Well,
playing.
yeah.
Because I
Oh my
remember,
God.
I must have been at RDU and I was like, we did a thing at the Arts Centre or something and we got Blue Juice
Yeah.
to perform.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was pretty much like Shapeshifter, pre-Shapeshifter.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
time.
I know.
I'm glad
No.
you guys have still got good memories though. My memory's not as good anymore.
It's reasonably selective. Yours is going great.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's the photo album. It brings back those memories.
Yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
great.
yay.
Fine.